As we begin 2024, we are privileged to start the year with this milestone on the Lusaka Securities Exchange. Our renewable energy journey, particularly solar generation, began 5 years ago. The journey we have taken in raising financing for further investment in renewable energy generation is an affirmation of our commitment to embedding sustainable practices in our business, as well as to support the green energy transition locally and globally. The Copperbelt Energy Corporation established a special vehicle, CEC Renewables, in 2022 as an investment vehicle through which renewable energy development would be actualized. We began delivering on these ambitions prior to the company looking to capital markets to raise additional financing for CEC Renewables when we commissioned our 34 megawatts Riverside solar plant. The achievement of our Greenbond registration and its listing would not have been made possible without our partners. Therefore, allow me to take the opportunity to thank our lead arrangers, Sygenam Capital, auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, our reporting accountants. The legal teams from Moira Mkuka Legal Practitioners and Trinity International, Stockbrokers Zambia, Lusaka Securities Exchange, and the CEC management team for the work put into the issuance of our bond. Subscription to the bond opened in December 2023. By the 28th of December, the first $54 million tranche was fully subscribed. Thank you to our investors, Emerging Africa Infrastructure Fund, ABSA, Atlas Mara, and the African Local Currency Bond Fund, for the extremely positive response and confidence in Zambia's debut green bond. Your willingness to invest in this green bond is a demonstration of the interest in the country to advance renewable energy for a greener Zambia and planet. The initial tranche of our green bond was made as a part private placement. However, we issue subsequent tranches. We look forward to extending the opportunity for other investors to participate in a green investment.
We are glad to be here with you here today to celebrate the beginning of this journey for Zambia. And this journey, I think as was already alluded to, for us began in 2019. So this has been a journey that has required a lot of dialogue, a lot of capacity building, a lot of support. And through it all, we were supported by BioFin, which is one of the diversity finance initiatives by the United Nations Development Programs, who worked with us, who worked with the government together, the civil society, and the private sector in order to catalyze the investment in a project such as these. We also are happy to note that through the capital markets, we can raise what is needed for the capital in terms of projects and businesses that are related to environmentally sustainable projects. And through this continuous dialogue that has taken place with us and with the Securities Exchange Commission and with government, we are sure that the issuance of this bond will not only provide what is needed for CEC, but will also spur a lot of sustainable development in our economy. The capital markets green projects subsequently, and the many engagements and the dialogue that we've had, also led to the final approval. As you know, there is a regulatory framework that has also been established, and this was finally approved in 2021. And following that approval, we had to ensure that there was capacity build with the brokers coming on board, the other market players, fully understanding what it means to issue a green bond and what it means and what kind of support is required in the markets. I think, as you know, although Lusaka Securities Exchange has been in existence this year for 30 years, I think there's still a lot of capacity building, there's still a lot more dialogue that needs to take place for people to fully understand how the capital markets, how this type of investment actually supports Zambia, how it can support our economy, and how it can support the growth in the economy. So the significance of this is being facilitated today, and we cannot really overemphasize this crucial role that the capital markets play in the economy.
As you may be aware, I had the privilege of being part of the announcement of the registration of Copperbelt Energy Corporation Greenbond at the COP28 meetings in Dubai last year. It was indeed a proud moment for Zambia. It is important, therefore, to note that in 2022, my government established a new pillar on environmental sustainability in the 8th National Development Plan. The inclusion of this pillar recognizes that Zambia's vision of becoming a prosperous middle-income country by 2030 must be anchored on sustainable environment and ecosystems management. Based on this, we developed the Green Growth Strategy, which will act as a blueprint for guiding Zambia's economic growth towards a trajectory that is resource efficient, low carbon, climate resilient, and socially inclusive. Under this green growth strategy, attracting green finance is seen as an important aspect of enabling Zambia's transition to a climate resilient and inclusive green growth. Honorable ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is worth noting that climate change is a reality that we cannot ignore. And it is up to all of us to take responsibility and make the necessary changes to our lifestyles. The Copperbelt Energy Corporation Greenbond listing will go a long way as it aims at mobilizing financial resources to lower carbon emissions and reduce our carbon footprint to achieve environmental sustainability and a green agenda. Indeed, we have vast mitigation options in Zambia in the forestry, agriculture, and energy sectors. In the energy sector, our focus as a ministry has been on switching towards green and renewable energy sources such as biomass, solar, and wind. I therefore urge both public and private sectors to emulate the Copperbelt Energy Corporation on this initiative of venturing into green bonds. Such efforts are commendable as they aim at reducing our carbon footprint, which is a sure way to a brighter and healthier future for generations to come.
The energy sector has a key role to play in anchoring the development of our nation. To support the national development agenda, it is important that the energy sector grows and develops to scale with requisite investments in power generation, transmission, and distribution infrastructure. The government of the Republic of Zambia, through my ministry, is focused on increasing the contribution of renewable energy in the national energy generation mix. It is our intention to increase total electricity generation capacity to 4,460 megawatt by year 2026, which is in 2 years' time. Within this time frame, we expect the proportion of renewable energy in the national generation mix to increase to 10% from the current 3%. As we are all aware, our country has for a long time been reliant on hydropower generation to meet national power demand. However, This has been severely impacted by climate change challenges. Therefore, it has become pertinent and indeed urgent that to invest in renewable energy sources to augment generation from hydro and thus attain energy security and reliability. As a government, we are making strides in this direction with ZESCO signing power purchase agreements with private sector partners intent on investing in solar energy. In order to create a conducive environment for investment in renewable energy, my ministry developed the Renewable Energy Strategy Action Plan in 2022. With this strategy in place, they hope to see an acceleration of investments in renewable energy premised on innovative financing such as we are witnessing today with the listing of CEC's Green Bond. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to commend the board and management of CEC for the additional investment that will be made in solar energy generation from the proceeds of the $200 million Green Bond. The targeted 200 megawatt generation from CEC's ongoing and future projects will not only support the current energy demand, but also demonstrate the markedly improved investment climate in our country. This is testament that the reforms our government is undertaking are bearing fruit. Ladies and gentlemen, let me end by saying that my ministry remains resolute in supporting private sector investment in the energy sector. We look forward to seeing more private sector players enter the power generation space so that Zambia can attain the ambition of becoming a net exporter of power in the region. I thank you.
In 2002, through the Ministry of Finance, we developed the Capital Markets Master Plan, which was launched last year in February. The same year of last year, I think, as I announced the budget speech, I provided an incentive. And that incentive was that if you invest in a green bond that is traded on the stock exchange, then the withholding tax does not apply. Okay? The withholding tax does not apply. So in a sense, what is happening this morning, from the introduction of the master plan to the budgetary incentive that was provided, we feel energized. We feel happy that there is a response that is taking place to the policy pronouncements that was made. And for that, once again, we want to congratulate CEC to be the first to respond to this incentive on the green bonds. Now, as we have heard, this green bond is going to be utilized to expand on the available power in the country using green energy. That is significant. But beyond that, I want to say to you colleagues, in the coming few years, we'll definitely be seeing more expansion taking place in some of the key sectors in this economy. Once again, CEC, you've shown the way. Congratulations. But I also know that you did not achieve this without the cooperation and the assistance of others. So all those who are responsible for making it happen, the SEC, the Saka Stock Exchange, the finance people who I can see, including the man who recently became a big banker, Mr. Ishala Stombeko, and many others who I think I've seen Absa here, I'm sure there are others. Thank you very much all for making it happen, and let's continue to push in this direction. Thank you.
Greetings everyone, my name is Sadu Chuma for Financial Insight Zambia, here at the Intercontinental, where we are announcing CEC's Greenbond, which is the first of its kind on the Zambian market. And joining me right now is Minister of Energy, Honorable Engineer Peter Kapala. Minister, how are you doing?
All right. Yeah, thank you.
I'm good. So tell us how this came about and what this does for your ministry.
You see, we are pushing as a government, this new administration of the UPND government is pushing hard to ensure that we give incentives and encourage more private sector people to play a major role rather than government to play a major role in terms of energy development in the country. Because you see, when you look at it, the energy in terms of power generation is more skewed to hydro, okay? Which, as you may know, that climate change has affected the southern part of our country, and much of the rainfall is now in the northern part, which we call the northern circuit. So situations like this, where the CEC is launching the Greenbond, excites us a lot. But this administration is, can I call it, greedy, in the sense that we feel that the 200 megawatts, yes, it is a first step forward, but we need more. We need more from private entities to come forward and join in the development of green power, so to speak. We are trying to develop at least an additional 1,000 or so plus within 2 years, but that's just on paper. But when we implement all the projects that are in the pipeline, you see that whatever we've projected will be more than what the 1,000 megawatts that we are projecting that we can achieve in the next year or so.
Awesome. And you mentioned private sector. You are really big on encouraging more private sector participation, not only on the generation of the energy side, but also on the investment side as well. So are you able to tell us what that means for you as a government on both ends, and the integration between raising the finance to actually finance the investments that are needed?
Well, raising finance, I might not be that competent to comment. However, what we believe in is the policy, the UPND government policy, that will encourage, people with financial muscle to come and invest in the country.
And this is a very significant step, this green bond being announced, about $200 million. Are you able to tell us just what you want to see subsequent to this with regards to more investment in the sector, and also just what this means for the sector as a whole?
Well, this will give us a lot of drive, in the sense that we'll encourage more other companies to emulate what CEC has done, because I'm yet to know where exactly they are going to station these solar plants, whether they are going to split them in, say, 50-50 megawatts, and which areas. Okay, we are this year going to launch what we call an open access policy, whereby you are free to generate, transmit, and distribute. Understand? As long as you follow the regulatory laid down procedures that will be in place. So CEC on ZESCO will face some more competition, meaning more efficiency will come to these organizations. So the service, there will be an improvement, a lot of improvement in the delivery, of the service that they are going to provide.
Wow, it's been amazing. Right now I'm joined by the new Chief Executive Officer of the Lusaka Securities Exchange, Nicholas Carl. So Nicholas, how are you doing?
Thank you very much, Truman. Thank you very much as well for hosting us here.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on the appointment, by the way.
Thank you.
So tell us what this means for the market.
Well, I think it's a good question and it's a good start in terms of getting the information out there. So the green bond ideally is a sustainable bond. So what it basically means is that the listing of a particular bond is merely helping us to get the funds that are directed towards green initiatives. And in this particular case for CEC, the funds are going towards a solar plant. And what we're looking at there is how do we increase generation of power, utilization, but using more smarter ways of generating power, and using smart grids such as solar, is a good start, because now what we're having there is less utilization of water. The resources there are not very much, exploited. And if you have to look at the source of, the energy itself is coming from, natural elements such as the sun. So already you're talking about how then do we maximize capacity to be able to increase our, the capacity to be able to consume more power, but still not, deplete the natural environment. So the whole essence around then why we're issuing the bond is to let those particular funds rest to be directed towards those initiatives. How can we generate more value out of our energy, but still doing that in a more energy efficient way? So that is basically where the bond is coming in. So what is the incentive then for you and I, even for other prospective issuers? So if you have to look at our environment now, it's being depleted. We're talking about a lot of elements that are going wrong with our environment, and hence even our natural weather elements are also being undermined. So with this particular initiative of raising money for specific stop measures to help our environment become better, it then incentivizes individual issuers to be able to look out for any areas of initiatives, and then the market is more than ready to be able to fund those particular causes. So it's good for individual issuers who are looking for specific areas of green initiatives, but also for you and I, because this particular cause affects all of us. So the advantage then that you have, even as an individual investor, is that if this green initiative concept speaks to your heart and mind, you then be able to get to see need for you to be able to invest. And as you are investing, you're supporting that cause, that we're going to be more green efficient, even as we are looking at expanding our power generation. So that's basically what it is, in terms of, the rollout and the launch of this particular bond on the market today.
All right, and able to speak more of the demand for investment vehicles such as green bonds, because we saw the first tranche of this particular green bond was oversubscribed by 178%. That's a lot of demand.
Too much.
So are you able to speak more on that and how you'd like to see more people get onto the market, because there's a lot of money on the table available?
Very good question. So I think in terms of getting to see, what that demand means for us, it basically means that on the demand side, we are sorted. We've got enough capacity to be able to invest in terms of some of these green bond issuances, and if most of these green bond listings are meeting the various tenets of what green bonds are all about. So the demand side, which is already oversubscribing some of these tranches that we've already seen on the market, gives us a positive drive that we need to have more on the market. So the very fact that this particular tranche has been oversubscribed already gives an incentive to those other prospective issuers to look in our direction, be able to talk to us. We start the conversation on how we can then get them to list their first green bond.
I am joined right now by the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Owen Silavoya. Mr. Owen, how are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. And you?
I'm good.
And Happy New Year to you.
Oh, Happy New Year.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank
this
you.
is such a massive, massive story, especially for our country. Are you able to tell us into how you got this over the line, and if you're going to be doing more of this, and what this means for your particular firm?
Thank you so much. I mean, look, this is good news all around. It's good news for CEC, it's good news for Zambia, it's good news for our market. I know there's a lot of hard work that went into this from, as I said, all the people that participated in this. When I look at our team at CEC, there's a lot of hard work in this. I mean, if you look at the whole process, it started around April. And this obviously just got over the line in December, at the end of the year almost. So I want to obviously recognize the various parties that played a role in this, as I said, starting with my own staff, the CES employees. They put in a lot of hard work. I want to recognize also our lead arranger, who is Signam. I want to recognize the the cornerstone investor, who is the Emerging Africa Infrastructure Fund themselves. There's obviously ABSA, there's Atlas Mara. I want to recognize so many others over the lawyers, playing their role. Is Moira Mukuka, who've had stockbrokers from a stock brokerage perspective. We had the international lawyers as well. So you look at the SEC themselves, you look at LUCE itself. I think there's been, this is something that's not accomplished, obviously just by CEC alone, but you get a lot of partners and stakeholders obviously supporting the process. And it's quite an involving process, but it's an important, obviously, milestone, and it's something that I'm hoping that several other companies will obviously take up in terms of trying to raise green financing. So from the perspective of the objective, from a CEC perspective, we are obviously one of the companies that are leading the way in terms of green development. We, at the moment, have commissioned 4 megawatts of solar, and we are hoping by the end of this month to be completing 60 megawatts. That will obviously take us to 94 megawatts of solar. The green bond itself has been structured as a program and sized for $200 million. And the main aim is to obviously refinance the existing projects, the 34 megawatts that I talked about, as well as 60 megawatts, and then use part of the proceeds to obviously now develop the difference between 94 megawatts and 200 megawatts. So what you then see is that we keep coming back to market based on the phasing of the project. So I expect that what we've done now is the first tranche, which is the $54 million, and this was oversubscribed, as you had mentioned, which basically shows that there's demand for these things in the market. So what we're looking forward to doing is to come back for the second tranche, and then come back finally with the third tranche. So obviously, for those who didn't participate in our first tranche, there's still an opportunity to be able to participate in the second tranche as well as the third tranche. So we're quite positive, and we're obviously looking forward to making sure that we get to utilize the whole $200 million.
Oh, that's amazing. Mr. Silva, it's been a pleasure having you. Congratulations once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.